This is the all-new electric G-Wagon, or the G580 with EQ technology, as Mercedes-Benz is officially calling it. The name is quite a mouthful, but the big news is that it has been launched here for 3 crores ex-showroom, and it's already sold out until the third quarter of 2025. So if you want your hands on one, you'll have to wait quite a bit. But until then, let me give you a quick walk around. Now, in terms of design, Mercedes hasn't strayed too far from the design of the original G, and that's perhaps a good thing. It's a very iconic and a very recognizable design, and it stays true for the electric G as well. There are some tweaks to the grille here up front, and Mercedes has also raised the bonnet to improve aerodynamic efficiency. It's an EV after all, but from here up front, it remains just as desirable as the regular G. Now this side, the silhouette obviously remains unchanged and it's iconic as ever. This is the first edition model, so you get some blue highlights here on this protection band here. There's an air vent here which further improves aerodynamic efficiency. You also get a blue finish for the brake calipers there. These are 20-inch wheels here in the first edition model, and the alloys have been optimized for air efficiency as well. And here at the front, you also get an EQ badging to distinguish it as the electric counterpart. Now at the back, you get a tailgate mounted spare wheel, but if you so desire, you can also have an optional storage box where you can keep your charging cables. Taking a look at the boot, it's a pretty large space as you'd imagine, and in terms of amenities, you have tethering hooks here, there's a storage net here, you have a luggage cover here, and you also get a 12-volt charging socket. Now stepping inside the new electric G, it's quite a climb up in, so you really have to use the footboard. But once you're settled in, the design and layout is pretty similar to the regular G class. Now this being the Edition 1 variant, there are a few exclusive details. You get this very beautiful blue inserts in the carbon fiber trim here on the dashboard. You also get an Edition 1 badge on this grab handle here. And the carbon fiber trimming continues here in the center console. And you also have it on the door pads. And you also get a contrasting blue stitching here on the dashboard and on the steering wheel. Now as you can see, it continues with a twin screen setup as a regular G, and you have your turbine inspired AC vents here and a band of physical switches for your HVAC controls. But what's really interesting is this off-road cockpit here, which houses your buttons for the G-turn and also the G steering. Now you must have seen the G-turn feature on the internet by now. What it does essentially is it allows the car to pivot around its center and do a full 360-degree turn by individually controlling each wheel. You also get the G steering feature, which essentially locks the inside rear wheel, and that helps you have a tighter turning circle. Now you do not get a mechanical locking differential like in a regular G class, but it's done here virtually through a torque vectoring system that locks individual wheels and sends drive to the ones which have most traction. Now here in the infotainment system, this being an EV, you also get a specific EQ function wherein you get your charging details, your range details, and also your consumption details, which are good information to have. In terms of features, the electric G gets 10-way power adjustable front seats, a single-pane sunroof, 18-speaker Burmester sound system, and even keyless go, which is a first for a G. You also have the optional massage front seats, 360-degree camera, and rear entertainment screens. The infotainment system also gives you several off-road related data such as suspension travel, steering angle, and tire pressures and temperatures. I'm sitting in the back seat of the electric G, and as you can see, there's decent amount of knee room here. There's lots of headroom. And as for amenities, you get a heating function for the seats here, you get an individual temperature control, and you also have a fold-out armrest. Now, overall comfort and fit and finish is really up there as you would expect in a Mercedes-Benz car. Under the skin, the electric G gets a 116 kWh battery, which returns a claimed range of 473 kilometers on the WLTP cycle. Now this continues to be underpinned by a ladder frame chassis, which is pretty unusual for EVs. But what Mercedes have done is they have split the battery in 2 layers, and there are 3 layers of cooling that further goes in between them. Powering the electric G are 4 electric motors for each of the 4 wheels, simulating an all-wheel drive setup. Combined, they produce 587 horsepower and a whopping 1164 Newton meters of torque. There's also a 2-speed gearbox with low range to help you in really tricky off-road situations. It weighs 3085 kilos after all. As for water weighting capacity, it has 850 mm of water weighting capacity, which is 100 mm more than the regular G, and you also get a ground clearance of 250 mm. In terms of suspension, the front gets independent suspension, and there's a rigid axle at the rear. Mercedes claims off-road, this is even better than the regular G class. Now at 3 crores ex-showroom, this electric G is actually more affordable than the AMG G63 with the V8 engine. And if it is really as competent off-road as Mercedes is claiming it to be, I think it's gonna make an epic new SUV. But what do you think about the electric G? Would you pick it over the regular G class? And what do you think about its pricing? Let us know in the comments below. And do not forget to subscribe to the Autocar India channel.